Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final session of our 32nd National Character and Leadership Symposium, the Challenge Ceremony. My name is Cadet Second Class Jamie Snyder, and I am the cadet in charge of next year's symposium. The NCLS team would like to take one final opportunity to express our thanks to the generous partners and supporters who made this event possible. Please hold your applause until all are recognized. The United States Air Force Academy, Class of 1959. Our flagship sponsor, the Class of 1973, the Class of 1974, the Class of 1977, the Class of 1993, the Class of 2004, the Association of Graduates, the United States Air Force Academy Foundation, the Falcon Foundation, the Muse Family Foundation, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Earl A. Enix, Class of 1977, and Mrs. Candy Enix, the Land of the Free Foundation, and other generous donors. Before we begin the challenge portion of our session, we are honored to present the Sullenberger Award for Courage bestowed by the Air Force Academy and the Association of Graduates. We are privileged to have the namesake of the award, Ambassador Sully Sullenberger, Class of 1973, here to share in this momentous occasion. Captain Sully Sullenberger has been dedicated to the pursuit of safety his entire adult life. He recently served as the U.S. Ambassador and representative to the International Civil Aviation Organization, a United Nations specialized agency, after being nominated by President Biden as a global thought leader. He has now resumed his profession as sought-after keynote speaker to audiences around the world and continues to advocacy for safety in global air travel. Born in Denison, Texas, Sullenberger pursued his childhood love of aviation, learning to fly at 16. He is a 1973 graduate of the United States Air Force Academy, where he was in Cadet Squadron 18 all 4 years, was the outstanding cadet in aviation in his class, and served as a fighter pilot in the United States Air Force, flying the F-4D Phantom II. He went on to be an airline pilot, instructor, Pilot Union Safety Committee chairman, and accident investigator, and helped create, develop, and teach his airline's first crew resource management course. He still flies privately. Sullenberger became internationally renowned on January 15, 2009, when he and his crew safely guided U.S. Airways Flight 1549 to an emergency water landing in New York City's frigid Hudson River, during what has been called the Miracle of the Hudson. Sullenberger and his crew received international acclaim for their actions, including the passage of a congressional resolution recognizing their bravery. Sullenberger was ranked second in Time's Top 100 Most Influential Heroes and Icons of 2009, and was awarded the French Legion of Honor. Sullenberger is the #1 New York Times best-selling author, The Highest Duty, My Search for What Really Matters, and also wrote Making a Difference, Stories of Vision and Courage from America's Leaders. Clint Eastwood directed the major motion picture about the Sullenberger titled Sully, based on Highest Duty, with Tom Hanks in the lead role. The film was released to critical acclaim in September 2016. Highest Duty was republished that year as Sully, My Search for What Really Matters. Sullenberger is an international lecturer and keynote speaker on how to achieve the highest levels of performance, reliability, and safety through effective crisis management, continuous learning, leadership, and culture. At this time, please direct your attention to the screens for a brief video.
Tower, stop your departures. Got emergency returning. It's 1529. He bird strike. He lost all engine. He lost the thrust in the engines. He's returning immediately.
Cactus 1529. Which engines?
He lost thrust in both engines, he said.
Got it.
Cactus 1529. If we can get it for you, do you want to try to land 1013?
We're unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
Charlie 2760, turn left 070.
070, turn 2760.
Hi, Cactus 1549. It's going to be left traffic to runway 31.
Unable.
Okay, what do you need to land? Cactus 1549, runway 4 is available if you want to make left traffic to runway 4.
88,
Okay, we make any runway. What's over to our right? Anything in New Jersey, maybe Teterboro?
Okay, yeah, off your right side is Teterboro Airport. Do you want to try to go to Teterboro?
Yes.
Teterboro, Empire, actually, LaGuardia departure guy, emergency inbound.
Hey, guys.
Cactus 1529 over the George Washington Bridge, wants to go to the airport right now.
Also, airport check. Does he need assistance?
Yes, it was a bird strike. Can I get him in for runway 1?
Runway 1, that's good.
Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be the...
Credit to that pilot, whether those engines were dead or not. He made an incredible landing.
If you've got to ditch a commercial aircraft in the Hudson River, this is the guy you want.
I never knew out of my entire career which 3.5 minutes I'd be judged on.
At this time, I now welcome Ambassador Sully Sullenberger to the stage to read the award citation for our award recipients.
Well, thank you for that, but I haven't even said anything yet. I'm glad to see you too. The Sullenberger Award for Courage was created to recognize Air Force Academy graduates who perform an act of bravery, who deliver an exemplary performance during a singular act or series of events within a short duration of time, where the individual demonstrated an achievement well exceeding expectations. We have 4 individuals here who will receive this award today, who through their brave actions not only completed their mission, but saved many lives and absolutely embodied the Academy's core values. Captain Claire Edens, Captain Kyle Abraham, Captain Carla Nava, and Captain Logan Cowan. Following Hamas's October 6, 2023 attack on Israel, the palpable tensions in the Middle East sent the entire region into a heightened state of emergency. A few weeks after the attack, the 494th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron, nicknamed the Panthers, deployed to deter Iranian attacks and defend against Iranian assaults. Iranian one-way attack drones presented a significant issue for the deployed forces because U.S. fighter aircraft had never faced them, and it was unclear how the pilots would fare against the massive numbers of drones. Tensions in the region grew even higher after Israeli attacks in early April 2024 hit several high-value Syrian targets. Coalition forces in the region knew an Iranian response was imminent. The Panthers immediately began an alert schedule. They did not know exactly what would be asked of them, but all 4 of our awardees were ready on April 13, 2024. That evening, the region came under attack from over 300 drones, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles directed at Israel from Iran and Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. Captain Edens, F-15E pilot, and Captain Nava, her weapons system officer, WSO, were flight leads in a 2-ship formation. Upon takeoff, they immediately faced attack from incoming drones. Operating in extreme darkness and at low altitude, Edens and Nava optimized their sensors to detect the low-flying threats, while Iranian ballistic missiles and Israeli interceptors detonated overhead. Aware that fighter aircraft forward of their position were rapidly depleting munitions against an onslaught of drone swarms, Edens ordered the formation forward. With the formation low on fuel, Edens and Nava developed a divert plan and coordinated emergency aerial refueling for their wingman, delaying their own refueling to break away and target 4 drones, successfully engaging 2. As the lane commander departed, Captain Edens and Nava displayed airmanship beyond their qualification and experience by taking command of the lane and coordinating successful engagements against 5 additional drones. In total, Captain Edens and Captain Nava successfully killed 5 one-way attack drones that night, making them 2 of the first female modern-day aces. Captain Abraham, F-15E pilot, and his Wizzo were alerted and scrambled with their flight lead to takeoff. Immediately after being airborne, they began intercepting successive swarms of one-way attack drones. Operating in darkness and at low altitude, Abraham optimized his sensors to detect the low-flying threats, while Iranian ballistic missiles and Israeli interceptors detonate in the sky overhead. Within 24 minutes after takeoff, he successfully engaged his first one-way attack drone. Aware that fighter aircraft ahead of him were rapidly expending munitions against drone swarms, and despite being low on fuel, he followed his flight lead as their formation moved forward in the defensive lane. After conducting emergency aerial refueling, and while his flight lead was still refueling, he detected a drone swarm in his lane. Without hesitation, he maneuvered at low altitude and without the mutual support of his flight lead, successfully and skillfully conducted 3 intercepts within 3 minutes, each resulting in successful drone kill. In total, Captain Abraham successfully destroyed 4 one-way attack drones. Captain Cowan launched his F-15E as 2 Patriot missiles ascended near the runway and navigated his formation through active air defense artillery and falling debris. Once established in his combat air patrol, he ordered his wingman to attack a drone, ensuring its destruction. Intercepting a second drone, Cowan maneuvered to engage the threat. However, assessing the drone's proximity to civilian infrastructure, he held his fire, preserving the safety of civilians below from collateral damage. Accepting the risk of fratricide as he left his defensive lane, he pursued his drone across an international border, maintaining custody of the threat with his sensors and providing a target handoff to coalition fighters, ensuring the drone was destroyed before reaching its intended target. The collected achievements of all 4 airmen played a vital role in combating Iran's large-scale attack against Israel, ultimately preserving regional stability, protecting coalition forces, and saving countless civilian lives. The actions of these 4 individuals ensured that nearly 99% of all inbound weapons were destroyed in what the U.S. Air Force has deemed its, quote, largest air-to-air engagement in over 50 years, unquote. These 4 individuals are remarkable for their courage, dedication to duty, ingenuity, and resilience in facing many serious challenges in a very fluid and dangerous hostile environment. Their actions more than qualify them to receive the Sullenberger Award for Courage, and it is my great honor to present the award to them and thank them for their service to our nation. They are exemplars who represent the very best of the United States Air Force. You can read more specifics about their mission and their actions on the Association of Graduates website.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the Air Force Academy Superintendent, Lieutenant General Tony D. Bauernfein. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and join me in welcoming our award recipients to the stage. Captain Kyle Abraham, Captain Logan Cowan, Captain Claire Edens, Captain Carla Nava. Okay. Thank you, General Bauernfein, Ambassador Sullenberger, and award recipients. You are now invited to return to your seats. At this time, please direct your attention to the screens for a brief video followed by challenge words from our Air Force Academy Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant John C. Alsvig.
But you'll be able to see it as
You messed up my flow. I was supposed to come out and say, there's 4,163 heartbeats that make me jump out of bed every day. And it's not the alarm clock. 4,163 heartbeats that represent the best and brightest from across our entire nation and even the world as we include our allies and partners. 4,163 reasons that cause our adversaries to pause when they think, is today the day I'm going to go toe-to-toe with the United States of America? And it's you, the cadets of the United States Air Force Academy. You represent the next 40 years of leadership for our country. Leaders that will own 2 legs of the nuclear triad. Leaders that will reach the highest, farthest reaches of space and provide us overwatch from high ground. Leaders that will be part of ISR and that can find, fix, track, and kill an adversary on any part of the globe at a time and place of our choosing. And leaders are going to be part of programs and be able to manage programs and functions that we can't even talk about in this space. Over the last 3 days, we've shared stories with you, poured perspectives about war fighting and war winning with you. We brought teammates in from around the world, battle-tested teammates, teammates that left parts of themselves, figuratively and literally, on foreign soil. Colonel Black, Captain Birch, SEAC CZ, Chief Gutierrez, and many more. So for those presenters, for those leaders, and for those national heroes, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for pouring into this next generation of leaders. Thank you for your service and your intense sacrifices to our nation. Now, those teammates didn't just come here to enjoy the weather. They came here to pour into you, to share their life stories with you, in the hopes that in a very short time, if you find yourselves in their shoes doing some of the things that they did, you're just going to be a little bit more prepared than they were when they had to walk those steps and make those decisions. So now what? There's a whisper that I'm starting to hear right now of the countdown. Siri says 97 days to graduation. Who's going to fact check? What? One of us is wrong. 97 days to graduation. But I see it differently. 97 days until we issue you your own heartbeats to prepare for conflict. Until we issue you your own heartbeats that represent our nation's most precious national treasure. And it's not a piece of hardware. It's somebody else's son or daughter. These teammates are going to be on the same journey as you, but things are going to change. You're going to be their lieutenant, their responsible and accountable military officer. Hook me up. I'm getting jammed. So it's not 97 days to graduation. It's 97 days for you to prepare to be the leader that we need you to be for our nation. So again, over the last few days, warrior ethos, warrior mindset, war fighters to win, whether you look at it as a priority, whether you look at it as some other form or function, it's not a course, it's not a national symposium, it's a mindset. And it's binary. You got it or you don't. There's no dishonor if you don't have it right now. If you didn't have it 3 days ago, you might not have it right now. But at some point soon, leaders, we need you to find it. We need you to live it. We need you to share it. We need you to reinforce it. And if your nation calls upon you to make the ultimate sacrifice, we need you to die with it. So for the cadets, a couple things. Got a little bit of story time, and then we have the challenge. The story starts about 25 years ago when I graduated Airman Leadership School. I was a baby staff sergeant, and I got issued 2 airmen right out the gate. Shortly thereafter, I had a chance to PCS to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. At the time, had about 200 A-10s and 30 130s. Big base, I picked up 5 more airmen. So I sat all my teammates down, gave them feedback like a good staff sergeant should. I trained them up, got their upgrades like a good staff sergeant should. Why are you laughing? It's what we have to do. I got First Sergeant Onset ADHD. Had to train them. I had to hold them accountable like a good staff sergeant does, right? And then I got to know them as a person like a good staff sergeant should. And then September 10th, 2001 hit. When I went home that night, I was working swing shift as a maintainer. When I went home that night, late, as usual, I got home tired, as usual. I checked on my wife and small kids at the time who were sleeping, as usual, and then I passed out. So early in the morning, my wife started shaking me, and she's like, babe, you got to see what's going on TV. And so I'm watching this, on the news live. And as my eyes are starting to unfuzz, I watched the second plane slam into the second tower. And a few minutes later, I watched it fall live on TV. Now, something inside I knew was different. And my life and the lives for hundreds of thousands of other heartbeats from that moment on changed forever. For me, I knew I had to do better. I went to bed that night telling myself, I have tomorrow to be a better dad. I have tomorrow to be a better husband. I have tomorrow to be a better trainer. I have tomorrow to be a better leader. I have tomorrow. And tomorrow was taken by an adversary. And every single day since then, I have lived like there's no tomorrow. We are all serving during a consequential time in our nation's history. Success will be defined by another few decades of peace, but failure will be defined by a millennium of darkness. For 249 years, every generation of American has paid for the next generation's freedom with blood and treasure. From the Revolutionary War to the War of 1812, Mexican Wars, Civil War, Indian Wars, Spanish-American Wars, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Cold War, Desert I, Desert II. My generation paid for your generation's freedom. And your generation is going to pay for your very own children's freedom. The silver lining in all of this is you are so much better prepared than we were on September 10th, 2001. You are better trained and you are better led. And our nation is better because of it. When you, cadets, cadet candidates, are making your generational sacrifice for your nation, you need to know and carry this with you always. This old sergeant and all the sergeants you serve with trust you, have confidence in you, and will always have your back on the good days, on the long days, and even on the last days. So for this last part, I need all the cadets in the audience and all the cadet candidates on your feet. Now, it's a big audience. I didn't realize there were so many of you. And I'm sorry if you're sitting down. But this next part is between me and them. I want each of you standing to just blur everything out. Your challenge. Continue your journey. Take everything that we've poured into you over the last few days and own it. Refine it. Make it better. Make it yours. Adapt it to who you are. Make improvements to your personal and professional identities. And if you do one thing right, make war fighting and war winning a foundational, permanent part of your core identity. Remember, tomorrow isn't promised. When you go to sleep at night, you're out of time. Because what you wake up with is going to be what you go to war with. And that's just how it is. As a sergeant, you're not alone. As a sergeant, I'm always on your wing. I don't know what the world's going to throw at you, and it doesn't matter. We're going to be with you through every hardship you have to endure. That's a promise. We're going to be with you as you support those precious souls our nation entrusts to you. But as a father, do not let me down. Cadets, thank you for raising your hand to be part of the 1% who serves. Thank you for raising your hand to lead on day one. And thank you for being part of the profession that was purpose-built to fight and win our nation's wars. So this last part, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You represent the very heartbeat of freedom itself. So your challenge is simple. Lead well. The future of our country depends on it. Thank you.
Command Chief Alsvig, thank you for your inspirational words to close out our symposium. It is now my privilege to present our challenge video, which contains highlights from NCLS 2025.
During the past few days, we've examined the profession of arms and the nature of war. We've explored the theme of warrior ethos as it influences the journey to become a leader of character, and heard life-changing and impactful stories from service members and role models. We've heard from a commander with 32 years of active duty service in special operations, how a pararescueman used his warfighting experience to lead as the 4th Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, how to prepare now for future conflicts, from a combat controller who enlisted because he wanted to fight. We explored how our sister services approach warfighting, with a powerful message from a commander who led the largest Marine Corps strike on the first night of Desert Storm, and another who was a Navy SEAL with experience at Special Operations Command. We welcomed Company Grade Officer F-18 aircrew to show us how the Navy fights the air war. Stories of determination and courage were shared by an Iraqi-American squadron commander who chose to enlist after the events on 9/11. A grad-turned-news correspondent who led medical care units during rescue operations for Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. We heard accounts of tough-mindedness, tireless motivation, and unceasing vigilance from military leaders who embody the warrior spirit and represent the best of the Air Force and Space Force. We delved into the legacy of a class exemplar, Master Sergeant John Chapman, as we explored the heroic events resulting in his Medal of Honor. We closed the symposium as changed people, as warfighters to win, leaders of character and quality, and critical thinkers to adapt, motivated and transformed by this extraordinary experience. During NCLS, we broadened our perspectives, put ourselves into others' shoes, and contemplated the tough challenges that each of us will face as leaders and warfighters. We understand that a true warrior leads through adversity, demonstrates unwavering focus, engages in the relentless pursuit of justice, executes purposeful and courageous action, advocates for teamwork to effectively work through challenges, and displays moral courage at all times. As we continue the conversation through the integration of cadet coursework and future engagements with leaders who challenge our way of thinking, we reflect with gratitude on NCLS 2025. As this year's event comes to a close, we invite you to join us again next year for NCLS 2026. If you are inspired by our speakers this year and have someone in mind who would be an impactful speaker for next year's symposium, visit the NCLS website and nominate a speaker through the speaker nomination button or scan this QR code. Thank you again for attending our symposium and for your commitment to growth as a leader of character. We look forward to seeing you again next year.
It is inspiring to see footage of all we've experienced over the past few days. I'd now like to take a moment to thank the amazing team and faculty, staff, and cadets who worked together to make this event a grand success. If you directly supported NCLS 2025, will you please stand and be recognized? And to our audience, we are so glad you were able to join us for NCLS 2025 and hope you will continue to have impactful conversations beyond this week's events. At this time, we invite you to capture this QR code to nominate a speaker for future NCLS events. You can also access the speaker nomination form on the NCLS app and NCLS website. We would also greatly appreciate audience feedback on your overall NCLS experience this year. The survey can be accessed via the QR code on the screens or the NCLS app. A survey link will also be sent out via email. This concludes our 32nd National Character and Leadership Symposium. We look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you and have a great weekend.